In this video, I'm going to configure a means to back up to a USB flash drive simply by plugging in a designated flash drive for backup. I cooked this up today using ChatGPT. I'm going to plug in my USB flash drive that I'll be using for backup. I'm going to open the contents of the flash drive. We see this folder here. If I open this folder and open up the readme.txt file, we're going to follow these instructions. We're going to copy these 3 files, and not the readme file, to a folder that we create called this, located in our home directory. So I'm going to copy and paste this. I'm going to go to my home folder, right-click, new folder, paste, create. I'm going to go back to the flash drive, the folder containing the files, and I'm going to select backup, the source code, and this usbid.txt file. Right-click, copy, go back to my home folder, the folder I created, paste. All right, so step 1's done. Install the needed dependencies to compile that C program using these terminal commands. So we're going to open up the terminal, Control-Alt-T. We're going to run sudo apt update, enter our password. All right, we're going to install the needed dependencies. So that's gcc, inotify-tools, and Zenity. Copy that command and paste in the terminal, hit enter. Yes. All right, next step. We're going to change directory into that folder we created containing those files, and we're going to compile that C program. Well, first let's take a look at that C program. Here it is right here. So I concocted this with ChatGPT's help, made some fine-tunings of it. Let's see what it more or less does here. It starts up, we get the username into a string, create the path to our USB flash drive, media user. We're going to check what's in this file called usbid.txt, which will contain an identifier for our USB flash drive, just so we compare against it. We're basically identifying what's being plugged in as being our backup drive or not. Monitor for USB flash drive. So USB flash drive is plugged in, and we're basically looking to see if it matches what we have documented as being our backup drive. So if it detects a USB flash drive, it's going to compare the USB ID that we documented and the USB flash drive that has been plugged in. And if it detects that it's a match, it's going to wait for that USB flash drive to be ready to be written to. And then when it is ready, it's going to run our backup script, which we have copied over earlier. We'll modify that backup script for our current setup. If we look at some of the functions here, wait for USB to be ready. We're using more or less this system command here to wait for that flash drive to be ready. And our backup.sh script file is what's going to be run. So it's not fully documented, but you get kind of the gist of what this C program is going to be up to. And it isn't using polling, it's event-driven, using some libraries here to achieve that. So Control-X to quit out of that, and let's compile it. So gcc-o, specify our executable output and our source code, right-click, paste. So that compiled the executable, it's right there. So we need to determine what our identifier is for our USB flash drive. If we run this command here, lsmedia $user, we see right here is the identifier for my specific flash drive in this case. We can also see that by going to the File Explorer. If I click on that flash drive and click up here, we see that right there is the identifier for that flash drive. So we need to open that usbid.txt file and paste this text in. So I'm going to highlight it, go to copy, and then if I do ls to see the contents of that usbid.txt, I'm going to type in nano usbid.txt, and I already have it pasted in there from last time I got this working, but I'll just remove it and paste it in again. So I'm just going to Control-X, Y, and enter. So we did this here, usbid.txt, we paste that in, save it. Now we need to open up backup.sh and also paste that identifier in the rsync command as well. So I'm going to type in nano backup.sh, and the rsync command is right here. So it's going to back up home user to media user and then the identifier for our flash drive. Now, if your username is something else other than user, you would need to change the rsync command here to be your username right there, and then also right here, username, And then here is where we specify the identifier for that specific USB flash drive. Now here's what also the script does. It pops up Zenity to pop up a dialog window that'll say the backup is completed successfully and the system will shut down in 10 seconds, and it gets optional input from the user to click OK or cancel. If the user clicks OK, then in 10 seconds it'll shut down. If the user clicks cancel, then it will cancel the shutdown operation. Or if the user doesn't do anything, in 10 seconds it'll shut down anyway. So that's kind of what that portion of the script does. And if there's an error, it won't shut down. It'll pop up another message with an error symbol on it saying a backup error has occurred, and the system won't shut down. So that's kind of your way of knowing that if the backup wasn't successful, the system will not shut down. Whereas if you plug in the flash drive and walk away from the system and it backs up and shuts down, you know that it succeeded in backing up. Though it's still good to do a sanity check every once in a while and check your backup drive and make sure that the contents of it are what you expect. So our backup.sh file is properly set up. We have the username properly set there, and the drive identifier is set right there on this rsync command line. So Control X, Y, and Enter if you needed to make changes. So save that in the text editor. We need to make backup.sh executable by running this command here, chmod +x backup.sh. So I'll paste that in and hit Enter. Now we need to make this executable that we created a startup application. So in Ubuntu, here's how you would do that. You would go to Startup Applications, click on Add, and then we'll call this, give it a name, browse to that executable for the command. It's going to be in this folder, and this is the executable. So I hit Open. So it's going to run this, and we'll just click Add. So now on System Startup and Login, it's going to run that program in the background. Now because it's not using polling, it's event-driven, it's not going to be using up really hardly any resources, so it's pretty efficient. We'll click Close to that. So let's just test this out before we reboot the system. I'm going to manually start up the program. Well, first I'm going to eject my USB flash drive. So we'll close the README. Eject my USB flash drive. We'll then run this program manually for now. So it says monitoring media user for USB flash drive. So I unplug the flash drive, I'm going to plug it back in, and it's going to mount at that specific location, and this program should detect its presence. It'll wait for it to be writable, and then we'll proceed with that rsync command. So we'll plug it in, it identified it, it's backing everything up, and now it says backup successful. I'm going to click cancel to that so that it doesn't shut down. Now, we see some warnings here from just the way I formatted that Zenity notice. We see here it says shutdown canceled by user. Now, it is still running in the background, or it's running kind of in this terminal window, but when I reboot the system, it's going to be running in the background. We won't really see any of this. We will get those pop-ups from Zenity, though. So I'm going to close this terminal here, and I'll eject the drive. I'm going to then reboot the system with the USB flash drive taken out. I'm going to plug in the flash drive, and we'll see it do its thing. Now, you want to make sure the flash drive is not in the system when you boot back up. Otherwise, it'll see that it's plugged in, and it will proceed with another backup and shut down. So that is one caveat here, is you need to make sure that the backup drive has been removed when you boot back up. Now, there are ways certainly to prevent it from doing that on start, but I think it's safe to say that when you're done backing up, you're going to want to remove the flash drive and proceed with using the computer normally, and plug it back in again when you're ready to back up again. So I'm going to reboot the system with the USB flash drive out, plug it in, and see if we're still working. Alright, I've rebooted the machine, and let's check and see that the executable is running. So I'm going to launch System Monitor, and there's the executable right there running in the background. So I'm going to close this, I'm going to plug in my USB flash drive that's designated for backing up. And the backup has run. I'm going to click cancel so that it doesn't shut down. And let's just test this again here. I'm going to eject this. Well, first let's check the contents of the backup drive. So we have our user folder and all the contents of that backup. And I'm just going to create a test file. I'm going to call it test2. Close that. And now if I plug in the flash drive, it performs a backup. I'll click cancel to prevent it from shutting down. I'll open up the backup, go to User, Documents, Test2, and there's my document backed up. So it seems to be working. A link to all the files needed to do this is in the description.